Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So today I will present part 4 of this series, Science and the Holy Quran. So today we are we will start from chapter 21, Surah Anbiya, verses 30 to 32. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Avalam yaralladina kafaru anna samawati wal arda kanata ratkam ففتقناهما وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء حي أفلا يؤمنون وجعلنا في الأرض رواسي أن تميد بهم وجعلنا فيها فجاجا سبلا لعلهم يهتدون وجعلنا السماء سقفا محفوظا وهم عن آياتها موردون. Translation: Have the non-believers not seen that sky and earth were one, and Allah separated them, and all the living creatures were made from water? So why they do not believe in Allah? And He created mountains to stabilize the earth, and made vast paths for easy movement of people. And He made the sky as a protective roof. Still they turn away from the signs of Allah. So this is one of the most, these are the most quoted verses from the Holy Quran. So one by one I will talk about different points. First is sky and earth were one and Allah separated them. These ayat shed light on the development of the universe. Allah says that initially skies and earth were not separated. More than 1400 years ago, the Holy Quran gave this information about Big Bang, whereas this concept was put forward by scientists only 45 years ago. In 1978, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson won Nobel Prize for the Big Bang theory, which states there was a primary nebula, then a Big Bang occurred, and as a result, galaxies and stars were formed. So a nebula is a giant cloud of dust and gas in space. Some nebulae come from the gas and dust thrown out by the explosion of a dying star, that is a supernova. A supernova is a massive explosion that occurs when a star dies. So supernovas are some of the most energetic events in the universe and can outshine an entire galaxy for weeks. So this description is about stars, but here they are saying that primary nebula, I mean the first explosion, that is called Big Bang. So about 200 billion, 2,000 billion years ago, there was no universe. But there was matter in the form of electrons and protons, which was evenly distributed, and this matter was in state of equilibrium with no movement. Slowly it condensed to stars and galaxies were formed which can merge. So this is the timeline of events after Big Bang. You can see that nuclear fusion started within seconds after Big Bang but lasted for about 1000 years. After another 2000 years, cosmic microwave background was generated. It was followed by formation of stars and galaxies after 300,000 years. Now, this cosmic microwave background is the landmark evidence of the Big Bang theory for the origin of the universe. And Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson discovered it in 1964 and were awarded a Nobel Prize in 1978. So here you can see this is the description that, as I said, that the CMB was generated a few thousand years after the Big Bang, and then after that is you can see stars and galaxies were formed, and then there are other events which occurred to the up to the present age. A second point is, and all the living creatures were made from water. When the Holy Quran revealed this fact more than 1400 years ago, nobody had an idea about the beginning of life. However, now it is generally accepted that life first evolved in water, as revealed in the Holy Quran. This theory was first proposed by Russian scientist Oparin and a British scientist Haldane only 100 years ago. Haldane called primordial ocean as hot dilute soup in which various organic molecules evolved. There is also complete agreement that life started in oceans. Modern science tells us that cytoplasm of a cell has 80% water and every living creature has 50 to 90% water in its makeup. In a 72 kg body containing 40 liters of fluid, about 25 liters is intracellular, more than half, which amounts to 62.5%. So, as you know, a cell is the basic building unit of the body, just like brick is for a wall. Intracellular fluid, that is two-thirds of body fluid, is fluid contained within the cell. So here you can see different cells, and arrow shows that space where intracellular fluid is present in a cell. The next point is, and he created mountains to stabilize the earth and made vast paths for easy movement of people. The mountains function as a nail holding the earth together, and this process is known as isostasy. This process of stabilizing the earth used the gravitational stress from the mountain to yield flow of rock material, thus creating equilibrium. So here you can see in this figure from US Geological Survey, on the top the brown colored are the mountains, and you can see that just below the mountains the crest, the brown part of the crest is very thick. That is, they are like a nail uh, in that crust and they stabilize the earth, as Cron mentioned 1400 years ago. Oh, this topic is also discussed in Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, verses 15 to 16, Surah Hamin As-Sajda, chapter 41, verse 10, Surah An-Naba, chapter 78, verse 7, and Surah Al-Ghashiyah, chapter 48, verse 19 to 20. Next is verse 33. वहुवल्लज़ी बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वहुवल्लज़ी खलक़स लैला वन्नहारा वश्शम्सा वल्कमरा कुल्लुम फी फलकिम यस्बहून. It is He who has created night and this day, the sun and the moon, each one traveling in orbit with its own motion. So Holy Quran gave this information that sun and moon are moving in their orbits more than 1400 years ago. It was only in 1543 AD that Nicholas Copernicus detailed its radical theory of the universe, in which the Earth, along with other planets, rotated around the Sun. His theory took more than a century to become widely accepted. So people initially did not believe him, and after about 100 years, most of them were convinced. But this topic has also been discussed in Surah Hajj, chapter 22, verse 61, Surah Furqan, chapter 25, verse 62, Surah Al-Quman, chapter 31, verse 29, and Surah Al-Zumar, chapter 39, verse 5. Now, next is chapter 22, Surah Hajj, verse 5. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya ayyuhan nasu in kuntum fi raibim من الباس فإنا خلقناكم من تراب ثم من نطفة ثم من علقات ثم من مضغة مخلقات وغير مخلقات لنبين لكم ونكر في الأرحام ما نشاء إلى أجل مسمى ثم نخرجكم طفلا ثم لتبلغوا أشدكم ومنكم من تتوفى ومنكم من يرد إلى أرض الأمور لكي لا يعلم من بعد علم شيئا وترى الأرض محاملة فإذا أنزلنا عليها الماء اهتزت وربت وأنبتت من كل زوج بهيج. Translation: If they, that is Kuffar, had doubts regarding rising again from graves, they should think about the process of their birth. Mankind started from clay, and subsequently every human is made from a drop of semen. The sperm leads to formation of a clot of blood, which then turns into flesh, which gradually takes its shape. After a period in mother's womb, delivery takes place. After coming into this world, a human is very weak in infancy and childhood. Then gradually hidden strength becomes visible and reaches its peak in youth. Some are not able to live beyond young age. Others reach old age when everything decays and powers of body and mind are lost. Same thing can be observed about crops rising from soil. A barren land comes to life when it gets water and crops and plants rise from it. So there are many topics in this ayah, but they will be discussed in more detail in later chapters of the Holy Quran. Right now, I will comment only on mankind started from clay. At the time of revelation of the Holy Quran, more than 1400 years ago, it was inconceivable that the human body and soil had anything in common. But now modern science agrees to this statement. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine make up 99% of the atoms in the human body, with all but hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon having soil as their major source. So, except for these three gases, this hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon, all others materials. So they come from the soil. So the so we can say that the human body has an origin from the soil or clay. The same revelation has been made in chapter 15, Surah Al-Hijr, verse 26. Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim. وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ صَلْصَالٍ مِنْ حَمَإٍ مَسْنُونٍ. Translation, and indeed we created man from sounding clay of altered black smooth mud. Professor Okuda, professor of political systems at Kyoto University, Japan, embraced Islam after reading this verse. He was amazed at this revelation, which was made 1400 years ago. The rest of the contents, as I mentioned, of this ayah are described in greater detail in Surah Mu'minun, chapter 23, verses 12 to 14, which will be the topic of my next vlog. And then next is verse 61. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ يُولِجُ اللَّيْلَ فِي النَّهَارِ وَيُولِجُ النَّهَارَ فِي اللَّيْلِ وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ بَصِيرٌ. Translation: He has the power to merge day with night and night with day. He listens and sees everything. So this topic also has been discussed in great detail in Surah Anbiya, in Surah Furqan, verse 62, Surah Luqman, verse 29, and Surah Al-Zumar, verse 5. So here details of my context are given. Thank you very much.